Sure. So Saudi Arabia is the second largest ICT market in the region, in the META region, Middle East, Turkey, and Africa, which is the region that we cover. But at the same time, it is, it's one of the most dynamic and constantly evolving market based on obviously the widespread modernization initiatives that are currently underway in the kingdom. So it's a market that's still dominated by telecom services but the IT bit of the ICT is probably the faster growing segment of the technology spending. So we're expecting the ICT market to touch about $32.9 billion by the end of 2022. That's the amount of spend in communications, hardware, software, and services. That's how we broadly categorize ICT by the end of 2022. And that's basically a growth of about 2.3% from 2021, where the market grew 8% after the decline in 2019 and 2020, based on obviously the pandemic and its associated impact on technology. In terms of the fastest growing segments in the market, I think the communication spending is flat. Obviously, it comprises of a wider portion of the market, so we're expecting about 2.3% growth on the communication sector. Hardware is expected to grow about 5.5%. It's enterprise hardware, including IaaS, which is infrastructure as a service in terms of cloud. But the real growth is coming from software and cloud. So we're expecting over the forecast period till 2025, software and cloud to grow by about 9.9%. That's, given the size and dynamics of the market, it's a very healthy growth. So again, it's a testament to the modernization drive and Saudi Arabia maturing as an IT market. Sure. So I think that's in terms of the key drivers for ICT growth. Obviously, there's the widespread modernization drive. So which is so as we approach the execution phase of Vision 2030, digital technologies or digitalization will be at the core of Saudi Arabia's transformation. We've already seen that the pandemic response that the kingdom had, was a digital-first approach, right? So we leveraged digital technologies because we were ready for it. So that means that the underlying infrastructure base that a country needs to really expand its digital aspirations, that was already set. And to your point about the towers, again, a lot of expansions, consolidation in the telecom industry to set that digital backbone, because what's to come is an explosion of disruptive technologies. So we're looking at emerging 5G use cases that will come to the market. We're looking at next gen IoT use cases like autonomous vehicles, self-driving cars, to name a few, and that's just on the on the enterprise side. In the manufacturing sector, for example, we're seeing a large number of IoT use cases emerge that are helping the Industry 4.0 movement mature in the kingdom. So there's a lot of impetus on setting that infrastructure in place, but at the same time augmenting that infrastructure investments by a software-driven approach. So we're seeing that level of modernization come in, where a software-driven approach to digital transformation is coming to the fore. Emerging technologies will play a key part. So we're looking at new-gen technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, robotics, augmented reality, virtual reality, play a key part in national level initiatives. Obviously, we've seen a lot of concerted government efforts in developing the AI ecosystem, and by 2030 we expect it to be a major contributor to the Saudi GDP. So these technology investments are connected with the vision of the country where Saudi Arabia is heading. So that's why we believe between now and 2030 we are going to see an explosion of digital transformation. Our cities are getting smarter. We are building cities of the future like Neom, Qiddiya, to name a few. We're building ultra-luxury tourism spots in the kingdom as well. And there is no legacy infrastructure in these giga projects, right? These are all born in the era of digital innovation. So we expect them to be based on the underlying backbone of disruptive technologies. That's a very interesting question. So in terms of the volume, it's a very fragmented market. So you have a large number of players that operate in the market. Obviously, the telecom sector, we know it's a handful of players. But when it comes to the IT sector, it's divided between the global multinational players, the local service providers. There are multinational regional players that play in the kingdom. They are government-led, organizations that are driving concerted technology implementations within respective ministries. And we have new entities coming up, that are backed by the government to, help drive this digital agenda. In terms of gauging the sentiment of the global investment community, Saudi Arabia is fast becoming a regional innovation hubspot. So, and a testament to that is the fact that global hyperscalers are coming, and we've seen several high-level partnerships that have been announced with key local entities, and we as IDC expect this trend to accelerate even faster. And one of the key enablers to this movement of facilitating international organizations setting base in the kingdom is the fact that government regulations and the ease of doing business, especially in terms of incentivization from the ICT enabling entities, is increasing rapidly. So there's a lot of incentivization, there's a lot of opportunity, and I think the global service providers will find a very complementary market ready for them, where local companies can support them in their drive to help digitize the kingdom. So it's a win-win. It's a win-win for the ecosystem locally, and definitely in terms of the opportunity. We ourselves are at that junction where we advise and we speak to a lot of organizations. It is definitely the most important and the largest market, especially in the Middle East. So it's ripe for opportunities, and we expect a lot of market movements in the years to come. We've seen consolidation, we've seen acquisitions, and we've seen new market entrants target the kingdom, and that will not stop.